Thank you. I do have the honor of leading the Republicans on the Armed Services Committee, and my remarks are from that perspective. First, I want to make the point that Speaker Pelosi may have ran this morning from dealing with these issues on the House floor by not recognizing Mr. Gallagher's resolution. They won't be able to run from it tomorrow. The House Armed Services Committee starts its markup of the National Defense Authorization Act tomorrow morning. There will be many amendments addressing this. Mr. Gallagher is a member of our committee, and I'm certain he intends to bring up all components of his resolution to be debated fully in the Armed Services Committee. Second, this disaster that we just experienced in Afghanistan is solely the responsibility of Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, and Jake Sullivan and their leadership team. This is not a military failure. This was not a military operation. The chain of command in Afghanistan was led by the State Department. The decisions were led by the State Department missions. The troop levels were led by the State Department decisions. So when you saw Bagram closed, that was a State Department and Joe Biden decision. When you saw us only have 600 troops in Kabul, when the Turks had 900, the Brits had 500, that was a decision driven by the State Department. So they own this, not the military. So when you hear Jake Sullivan say that the president met with all of his military leaders and there was no one who objected to it, that is a prevarication. In Alabama, we call it a lie. But if you doubt it, you need to ask Secretary of Defense Austin. You should ask General Milley. You should ask General McKenzie. Ask them directly. I know what the answer is. But Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken and Jake Sullivan can't shirk responsibility for this. What happened is their fault. This was not a military operation. The military was there in support. Third and final point. We've got to move forward with this terrible situation that we have right now. What I have asked Secretary Austin last night and General Milley this morning is to be thinking about options for us in the future for counterterrorism and ISR capabilities. The fact is that now that we are out, we have no eyes and ears on what's going on in Afghanistan. This over-the-horizon suggestion that Anthony Blinken has talked about is ridiculous. If we fly out of Qatar or Omar, you're looking at having to fly down to the Arabian Sea and then over Pakistan to get in. It's a 7 to 8 hour flight. You might have an hour or 2 hours of coverage. That is not effective. And that's assuming that Pakistan will continue to allow us to fly over. We all know the Taliban is nothing but a Pakistan proxy, and we don't know that we'll continue to have that privilege. We have to have a base somewhere in Afghanistan. This idea that one of the other stands is going to allow us to have basing, Russia and China will never let that happen. We have to have something in the stands. So I've charged both of them with coming up with proposals for us. We have got to deal with this counterterrorism and ISR vulnerability, or we will have another attack on our soil, and that's not an option. So thank you very much for your time. And I now yield to Mr. Gallagher, a member of the Armed Services Committee.